Today, we're going to be 100% speedrunning Metro Gravity. Metro Gravity is a 3D Metroidvania with gravity mechanics and a rhythm-based combat system. I really enjoyed this game a lot, and you should definitely check it out on Steam. Let's get started. Right away, we're going to start a new game and mash through the opening scene. This will be the only time it's required. In recent updates, the dev added a speedrun mode that adds an in-game timer, so life split won't be needed. It also allows us to go through dialogue by holding a key. Here, we're going to pick up our first document and continue on down these sewers. I don't know why, but every time I see the water in the scene, I think of a fruit roll-up. You'll also notice a lock next to Stephanie. This is called concentration, which allows her to lock her current gravity in most situations. We'll go down this opening and enter another cutscene as she lands on this pile of leaves. We're going to turn around, go up this wall, go behind these stairs, and grab a map. Then we're going to head to this tunnel and fall until we get to the last block. As you may have noticed, I'm going to be falling more than running, as it is generally faster. We'll walk around this block and grab a broken heart. Next, we'll meet up with Coltrane, who's sitting on a pillar. Speaking with him will give us a keychain with weapons, our main combative tool. Now we'll drop to this wall, break it, and continue on to our first fight. As we're trapped in this room, we're going to attack this gold-faced golem as it's spawning. When we defeat it, 2 doors will open and Coltrane will speak with us again. He'll give us another map. After that, we'll go up this slanted pillar to grab a broken heart, dash on over to grab this checkpoint, and enter this tunnel to another breakable wall. Here we'll meet Domito. Anyways, speaking with her will give us the gravity amulet. This will allow us to manipulate gravity on ourselves and certain objects. We'll move these 2 gold blocks and continue on to our first puzzle. This is a very simple puzzle. We'll place a gravity field on the wood area and hit the bell to drop a water ball. We'll then hit the blue area, locking a door for us. Now we'll continue to an area where there's an elevator and pick up the map nearby. Next we head down onto some water below us and grab the broken heart between these rocks. Around this column, we'll place a gravity field on the wood area and hit the bell. This will spawn a water cube. We'll have to maneuver it around to another platform without breaking on the fences. The fast way is to move it onto the column at a certain angle and completely avoid the fences. We're gonna head down as we continue moving the cube and land on this tunnel as we trigger the cutscene from completing the puzzle. This will unlock the door right below us. Now we'll drop down and use this planet's gravity to slingshot us around to our house. We'll grab the broken heart behind it and then enter the home. Inside, we'll pick up the pocket mirror, which will allow us to parry. We then exit and use this mushroom to bounce to a platform. We'll then parry this tublet to unlock the area behind it. Placing a gravity field on the wood area will pull a flower down that breaks the door. Now we drop down and head over to the fenced area to fight a butterfly knight. Defeating it unlocks the gate behind it. We're going to flip ourselves and head around this edge. Here we're going to defeat some Perka shrooms and grab a broken heart. We'll then proceed to fight 4 more shrooms and grabbing a map before saving and quitting. We'll open the save file and return to the mausoleums. Next we'll head over into the room on the right to fight another gold-faced golem. After we defeat it, we're going to save and quit and repeat the process 4 more times. This is a requirement for the zoology journal, which we'll obtain in the future. After the last one, we'll drop down this opening and parry this tublet. We'll parry 6 more to unlock a room for a document and a broken heart. Then we'll drop down and fight 3 rest in pieces, save and quit, and fight 3 more. Afterwards, we'll drop down to fight a butterfly knight to unlock a gate. Behind the gate is one of 3 torches that we must ignite to proceed to the first boss. We'll then drop to a checkpoint next to this abnormally large tree and parry the tublets just ahead. For this puzzle, we need to pull this metal cube down and stand on it to deactivate some flames. Then we'll use the momentum from the cube to jump across and ignite the second torch before quitting. Now we'll flip ourselves around and grab a broken heart on top of the tree and drop down to another set of tublets. Next, we'll drop through these rotating thorns to the final torch before quitting again. Dami is now at the checkpoint, and speaking with her gives us the ember key, allowing us to use the elevator. In the boss room, we'll grab a snack just outside before heading onto a rock to anger ourselves and fall to the first boss, the Doctor. The boss fights in this game are completely scripted and they cannot be killed to the very end. Instead, attacks add points to the score on the right and parrying increases the multiplier. You may finish the boss fight by only parrying and dodging, but I don't think it would be very entertaining for this video. The first phase of the Doctor is simple with an easy to follow rhythm and very few dodge requirements. Later in the fight, he'll start throwing giant syringes, but the attacks are still really spaced out. Entering the second phase, the Doctor will begin throwing cards at you that you must dodge. However, the attacks are still pretty slow. In the last phase, the Doctor will start attacking more aggressively. Afterwards, he'll begin spawning saws on the wall you're standing on, so you must move to avoid getting hit. After making yourself dizzy for a few seconds, he'll become exhausted and can now be defeated. Now that he is defeated, we can exit the boss room. We'll walk through the open doors, continue right to trigger the train, and then head over to the bench. Here we'll pick up the needle and thread before heading into the train back to the elevator. On arrival, we can use the thread to remove the scissors from the elevator, allowing us to exit. Back at the tree, we're going to head back to the rotating thorns to trigger dialogue and obtain the 2 new torch. In a room near the torch is another puzzle. This puzzle requires us to thread a flower to this honey wand and move it with gravity to guide the flower to the end. With that, we can grab the hospital keys and quit. Now we head back to fight the butterfly knight again, and then flip ourselves over to fight some more shrooms. We then drop down this opening and unplug the TV from the planet we land on. Next, we'll head to the planet past the elevator to save at a checkpoint and see Sinatra for the first time. However, we won't speak to him yet, and instead drop down to an opening in the space. We'll arrive at where we first started and head down a similar route. In the room with the lever, we can break this wall that will lead us towards the gambler's palace. We'll grab the broken heart on the roof and continue to a black and white room. Here we'll place a gravity field and use the thread to pull us through fast enough to avoid the traps. Now we'll defeat a jester thing, allowing us to grab lifting straps and break a chain before quitting. Right away, we're going to jump to the elevator across and take it back to the aqueduct channel. When we arrive, we'll flip ourselves over and drop down to fight some triple squids to unlock a door. Then we'll proceed to the checkpoint in the next room before heading to our next puzzle. This puzzle requires us to activate switches in a certain order on time platforms to unlock a gate. When completed, we can grab the van keys before quitting. Next, we have to use a thread to pull 2 flowers to break open the door. This will lead us to the red desert. Right at the start, we're going to grab a soccer ball with a thread and drag it to the soccer goal on the other side. Once we score, it will open a purple gate for the stylish Priest outfit. Now we'll follow the purple sand and defeat 2 sun poachers on the way. In the next room, we'll save at the checkpoint and grab a map before heading to the next puzzle. In this puzzle, you're supposed to use a catapult to launch the ball into the goal. However, we can just drag the soccer ball to the other side. This will allow us to grab the hourglass key before quitting. Now we'll head over to Miss Davis, who is currently trapped in an hourglass. After breaking her free, she'll give us 2.5-pound weights. Then we'll flip ourselves over and grab a broken heart on top of the hourglass. Next, we'll head to the room with the sun poachers to defeat them until we have 12 total. The weights allow us to fall at incredible speeds and use that momentum in a jump or dash. It will also allow us to break these purple walls in the room on the right. As we exit, we'll drop to a gap in the rocks for another broken heart. Then we'll use the skinny plane of this rock to drop down to a hidden tunnel. We'll continue past some sun poachers to a circular room with rafts. On one of the rafts, we can grab another broken heart before heading to our next puzzle. In this puzzle, you're supposed to drag the soccer ball around through spiked areas and use thread to complete the circuit around the perimeter. However, we can just put the ball in this corner and use the thread to make a much smaller circuit to open the gate. We'll grab the yarn ball before exiting the room. Next, we'll route to the chef's room, where we'll have to battle to unlock the fridge. Once defeated, we can grab brand name cigarettes before heading to the room across. Here we'll see some very large tulips before we begin our next puzzle. This is another time platform puzzle that requires us to activate switches in a certain order. However, the last switch requires us to be in a position for a spawning cage platform. After completing it, we can grab the hammer and chisel before quitting. Now we'll use the elevator to Snowfield Gate. Here, there is a trick where you can open the gate and fling yourself past it. However, I messed it up, so we'll just be threading the gate to the tree. We'll then route to another purple wall and break it. Upon entering, we're going to route our way to an opening in the snow wall to fight our first Thundercat. Defeating the Thundercat here will let us obtain another document before heading back out. Now we'll swing over to this elevator and drop down to the underside of this bridge. Then we'll save at this checkpoint and grab the map nearby. Next, we'll swing over to the opening on the right, parry 4 duplets, drop down to defeat 2 boss cliffs, and then defeat a Vinyl King to open a gate. This game can be very disorienting if you find yourself stuck to a random object. We'll put a gravity field to pull this metal plate down and enter the next room. Then we'll maneuver this cube to connect it to the metal plate, and then thread the plate to the tower to pull it up and power the gate, allowing us to break the chain before quitting. Now we'll head to the opening on the opposite side, use a gravity field to pull a lever that opens this gate, use a thread to open the second gate just enough for us to fall in, and break the second chain before quitting. Next, we'll drop down the bridge and fight the Tri-Bird. This mob can be quite annoying as it can fly around a lot, but you can use your thread to pull yourself to it and it will stop attacking as well. After defeating it, we'll head over to this tower to complete a balloon trial. Balloon trials require you to pop a series of balloons without touching the ground. Once completed, we can drop down to grab the snow outfit before quitting. We'll drop to this now open tunnel, place a gravity field, and enter this room to trigger a cutscene. The gravity field redirects us so that we don't fall past the hand. We'll pick up this handy wrench, use it to turn this wheel to open the gate, and move on to our next puzzle. We have ourselves another time platform puzzle. However, this time, it doesn't require us to activate the levers in a specific order. Once we're done, we'll head back and grab the shoelaces before moving on to the next area. We'll now enter the archives. First, we'll head over to this opening to fight an origami samurai. After defeating it, the gate behind it will open where we can destroy one of these light threads. We'll then continue down to fight another, more difficult origami samurai, and when we finally beat it, we can pick up a broken heart and the Ronin outfit before heading back out. Once we're back at the space area, we'll complete this battery circuit to open the gate and drop in to get to the lighthouse. Here we'll save at this checkpoint and grab the nearby map before heading over to this light thread towards the library. We'll wrap around these stairs to grab a broken heart, somehow get stuck under these stairs, head further in to fight some office natives, and go through this tunnel for our next puzzle. For this puzzle, we'll use a thread to complete this battery circuit, while also having equal pull on a cube in the middle of the room. We'll then set a gravity field to move the cube out and wait for all the gate rings to turn on before we drop down to break our second light thread and quit. Next, we'll angle ourselves on a lighthouse to drop towards the last light thread, fight some more office nados, and then complete this battery circuit to open the gate to our next puzzle. In this puzzle, we have to put our gravity field to pull down a swinging shelf, complete the battery circuit, and dash through the lasers whenever the shelf blocks the circuit. For the last one, we can remove the threads to turn off the circuit and break our last light thread before quitting. The water in the area will turn red, and we can now head to the boss room. We can use the umbrella to anchor ourselves into this opening and use the elevator. Upon entering, we'll grab this rock with a thread to swing ourselves over if I stop getting stuck, and then use the weights to launch ourselves to this beach tile to begin the fight with the second boss, the Mother. The first phase of Mother starts off fairly easy, but progressively gets more intense as the fight goes on. She'll then start using lightning strikes that you need to dodge consistently. After the first phase, the whale will grab you and take you to a miniature Earth and other replicas of the solar system. You'll need to use the floating rocks to swing around the planets to dodge oncoming lasers. The second phase is easy as you move about pretty quickly. The whale will grab you again and take you to the moon for the third phase. Mother will continue her aggressive attacks and throw in a jump mix-up as well. After a while, she'll become exhausted and you can finish her off. We can then leave the boss room, grab the snack in the hallway, and exit the door on the opposite side. We'll be stopped by Wonder to chat for a bit before we can leave on the train. We'll head back to the elevator and exit the boss room. As we leave, we'll walk around this platform and drop down into the opening. We'll route back to the library, where we'll take the elevator to the underbridge. Here we'll angle ourselves on the elevator, drop down, and jump behind the tower on the left to grab another broken heart. Then we'll go to the opposite side to defeat 2 boss clefs before quitting and repeating the process 3 more times. After that, we'll break through this purple wall to head into the Nothing Factory. On the way, we'll defeat 3 black holes before grabbing the checkpoint below. We'll then head back and begin the next puzzle. For this one, we cannot touch any of the surfaces, so we'll make our way through with the gravity amulet and grab the Raven outfit before quitting. Next, we'll drop down for another puzzle. We'll need to use a thread to connect the battery to multiple points, and then rotate the wheel until the circuit is completed. We can now grab the locker combination before quitting. Now we'll move forward to defeat a judgment before quitting and repeating the process 2 more times. Afterwards, we can head into the next room and fight 5 black holes before our next puzzle. We'll hit the bell to summon a water cube and place a gravity field to move it upwards. Then we'll use a wrench to move the clock to freeze it in place so that we can place a gravity field on it to move this bigger cube. Inside, we'll grab the season keys and move on to the next puzzle. This one requires us to hit the bell to spawn a water ball and freeze it right after it's past the pipe. Then use the wrench to rotate the pipe to allow the light to hit a switch. We can then angle ourselves on the bars near the clock, and while holding it with the wrench, fall to the frozen entrance. Now we rotate the clock to unfreeze the entrance and fall through as a water ball deactivates the lasers, allowing us to grab the whey protein before leaving. We'll activate the switch to open this door, and then head to the next switch to turn off the steam. Then we'll drop down, save at the checkpoint, and grab the nearby map. Here, we can angle ourselves to drop down to the already open side, hit the hand, and defeat 3 black holes. Afterwards, we'll go into the next room for another Thundercat fight. When defeated, we can grab a broken heart and a broken tape recorder before quitting. We'll then head back and defeat the Thundercat 3 more times. When we finish, we'll rotate the hand mechanism counterclockwise to unlock another door. We'll go around this platform and drop down to the lava area. The intended method is to ride on the cube and use gravity to guide it through, but we can use gravity on ourselves to get through quicker, even though I got sent back here. Now we'll defeat this judgment before heading over to the purple wall in the lava, breaking it, and grabbing a broken heart. Then we'll go around this corner to parry some tuplets to unlock a door, where we'll drop down to hit a hand before quitting. We're gonna rotate the hand counterclockwise again, and I forgot one. So we're gonna head back, complete this puzzle again, and hit this hand this time before quitting. Now that we're back on track, we'll rotate this hand again and drop straight down to our next puzzle. Then we're gonna change the time on this clock, defeat some shrooms, and gradually move this cube while changing the time so that it bounces off this mushroom, and freeze it right when you hear it hit the other wall. The gate will open, and then we can hit the hand before quitting. Now we'll drop down to these gears, grab a broken heart in between the teeth, and enter the elevator for our next boss fight. When we enter, we're gonna go down this long hallway into a ginormous sand pit and touch the sandcastle to start our 3rd boss fight, the Bully. The first phase of Bully is very slow, but it does require you to jump or dodge sometimes. Later on, he'll start attacking you very aggressively, giving you very little room to breathe. There is a strat to avoid all his attacks in the first phase, but again, it's not very entertaining to watch. If you've noticed, I've been standing on this particular wall. That's because at the end of phase 1, we'll enter a cutscene as he spawns a snake. We're still able to move during the cutscene, so we can get on this snake early. Then we'll go around destroying these 3 purple joints before finally breaking the head, completing phase 2. The 3rd phase takes us to a basketball court, where he'll use similar attacks from phase 1. him until he finally becomes exhausted, and then we can defeat him. A very easy fight. When we exit the boss room, we'll head over to a locker with flowers to unlock it, and pick up some letters before talking to Wonder again. Why is this guy always aura farming? After the little chat, we're gonna exit the hallway and grab the snack just outside before taking the train back to the sandbox. Then we'll go back to this hallway to take the elevator out of the boss room. Now we'll use a gravity field to get to the other elevator, if I can place it, and take it back to the underbridge. Here we're gonna go back to the bridge, and instead of dropping to the other bridge, we're gonna walk around, go into his tiled room, and defeating the Vinyl King inside before quitting, and defeating it again. Next we're gonna break this purple wall, drop inside, get stuck for a few seconds, use a gravity field to pull the statue outwards, and then grab a broken heart under it. We'll then pull it back down, walk around the statue, and then pull it back out to shine a light. We can now rotate these to create a treble clef with their shadows, breaking open a path to the Gambler's Palace. Then we'll head towards this twisted hallway, using a thread to pull ourselves on a sword, and then picking up a diamonds card set and breaking a chain on this sword. We'll save at this checkpoint and grab a map nearby before heading to our next puzzle. We're going to preset a gravity field in this corner, rotate a mirror to activate this switch, opening a gate to pull this cube out. That wasn't supposed to happen yet. Move the cube to this corner, and then rotate the light to this cube to activate a switch that opens this gate. Then we're going to move the cube back, rotate the light back to the first switch to pull the gate down, then take it back off to raise the gate and push the cube upwards. Then we'll center it on this wall, then use the cube to reflect the light to a switch on the roof that opens up a secret door, allowing us to pick up a spades card set and a broken heart before quitting. On to our next puzzle. We'll preset this red light onto that purple switch, rotate these metal plates to route this blue light around until we finally get to the prism, which will combine the lights and activate the switch, letting us open up the gate and grab the club's card set before quitting. Now we'll anchor ourselves on this pillar and drop all the way to the end of this tunnel so that we can head to the spades door on the opposite side of this tower. We'll defeat some watchouts before heading into this hallway to fight another jester thing. After defeating it, a gate will open to the jester thing we fought previously, whom we'll defeat before quitting, and repeating this process 2 more times. Then we'll start heading up the tower. That's the roof. Break through the glass with a diamond on it, and continue on to the next puzzle. We'll rotate this metal plate, put the light near the switch, and then jump in this hole, activating this switch as we get close to the lasers, letting us break this chain before leaving. We'll continue on to the club's entrance for what's probably the longest puzzle in this game. First we're going to move this cube around until it's in this corner so that I can reflect this light and break the green rock. Then we're going to pull the cube out, head inside, and activate this lever to turn on a red light. Then we'll head back out, put the cube on this wood area to reflect the light, rotate this metal plate to take the blue light off the prism, and aim now the red light onto that red rock to break it. We'll then preset this light onto the purple switch, maneuver the cubes around until they swap places, put the blue light back onto the prism, have the new cube reflect the red light to activate the purple switch, and place a gravity field to energize this cube, which will open up a gate and allow us to break the last chain before heading to the boss fight. After we got this broken heart on the roof first, I probably should have introduced her earlier, but this is Corey. We'll talk to her later. We have a boss to fight. By the way, we're gonna swing over and break this wall. Then we're gonna sling ourselves across the lake and touch this really spooky skeleton in the middle, beginning our 4th boss fight. The cannibal. The first phase starts with him shooting his rifle on the downbeat, which definitely tripped me up on my first time. Then he'll start attacking with his sword, which is a little easier to follow, but it gets more intense as the fight goes on, until the ice beneath us breaks and we enter the 2nd phase. I used to play gacha games, so this is probably the next step. In this phase he'll attack at a slower rhythm, but later on he'll start rolling dice at you that you have to dodge. He'll then give a short rest period before we go back to a similar rhythm as the first part. In the last part we're gonna have to dodge and jump over attacks, while he increases the pace until the solo, where we can weave in some of our own attacks while parrying. After surviving the solo, he'll become exhausted and we can now defeat him, and finally leave the casino. In the cemetery, we'll pick up a snack and the Hearts card set before heading over to chat with Wonder again. Is that Bambi? And now we can take the train back to the frozen lake. If I can get in. At the lake, we're going to instantly swing over to the elevator to trigger a cutscene that takes us to Wonder. Once we arrive, we're going to go grab this document on the file cabinet and then head back to the elevator to go to the aqueduct channel. Now we'll go through this window to complete our first season's puzzle. We'll head to the other side of the room, hit this bell to spawn a water cube, place a gravity field to drag it on a gold block to this side, and then freeze it once it arrives. We'll then pull it up above the wall so that we can move it in between these golden cubes. I messed up, so we're going to have to restart the process. Oh, we moved the water cube in between these gold ones, pull them onto the now frozen cube, and then move the assembly forward until it reaches that snowflake. Now we can remove the water cube with this bell, which will allow the gold cubes to touch and open a gate, where we'll grab the HOPC password before quitting. Now we'll head to the final puzzle of the aqueducts. Here we'll parry 3 tuplets to unlock a cage, pull a cube out and keep it in motion for a while so that we can open a gate. I know, I thought I wasn't supposed to touch walls either, but now we'll grab the broken heart and the document before quitting. Next we'll head back to where we first met Dami, move the gold cube again, and arrive arrive at this gate, we can open it by turning a wheel in the other room, and then proceed to fight a treble squid, a butterfly knight, 3 more treble squids, and a special variant of the judgment. Defeating them will unearth a document that we can pick up before quitting. Back at the elevator, we're gonna drop all the way down, where we can turn a wheel to open this door. Then we'll pick up this phone to talk to Oscar for the first time, and give him the HOPC password to open this door. Chimkin will then speak with Oscar, and he'll give us a treasure coin and remember us on the outside. I wonder what this show is. Next, we'll drop down again, and head over to Dami's house. We'll give her the yarn ball, where she'll make some cute dolls with it. Ignore that. Give her the hammer and chisel, where she makes a statue of Stephanie. Then we'll get some art lessons before she remembers us on the outside. Then we quit and take the elevator to the doctor. Once we're here, we'll take the train back to the hospital, go to the back to unlock a door, pick up a document, and then head into the boss room so that we can save and quit. We'll then take the elevator out, and then we'll head over to the green belt seasons puzzle. First, we have to rotate this pillar with the mushroom, then hit the bell and spawn a water ball. It will bounce off the mushroom, and we'll freeze it once it gets in the middle of this. And once it gets in the middle, we'll freeze it and place a gravity field, and unfreeze it to let the water ball hit the blue area to unlock a gate, allowing us to grab a document before quitting. And now we're gonna go see Sinatra again. The hell happened here? That's what I'm saying. So we're gonna give Sinatra his van key so I can bring the International Space Station. We'll hand him the broken tape recorder to get the retroactive tape recorder and the shoelaces for basketball shoes. I realized we forgot something, so we're heading to the palace floor. We'll head to the light puzzle. Oh, other way. And instead of the blue light, we're gonna reflect the red light around to hit this red switch, allowing us to go through this heart window for another light puzzle. First, we'll combine all these lights to activate the black switch, then move this cube over so that we can activate this red switch. Head inside of here, move the cube back over, and while trying not to die, rotate this light to activate the cyan switch before grabbing the thick lens and quitting. Next, we'll head back to where the club's entrance was and defeat some watchouts before entering this heart entrance. At this size, they probably think I'm Remy or something. After not becoming Ratatouille, the fridge will open for, you guessed it, another light puzzle. We'll preset a gravity field here, complete the circuit to open the gate, move this cube to the back, move this cube to the back, somehow mess this one up, break this wall, power this back on, struggle for 30 seconds to finally get this cube to go up, bring it to the other side so that it reflects the light to activate the blue switch, opening the gate, allowing us to grab the casket key before quitting. Now we can return to Sinatra, give him the lens for a telescope so that he can meet us on the outside, and then asking him why everything's on fire before heading to the underbridge. From here, we'll head over to Sicko's gym, talk to Miss Davis about Sinatra, give her the whey protein and the lifting straps so that we can meet her on the outside. And now we can finally head to Wonder. We'll angle ourselves on his elevator and drop down, chat with him, and then attack him to initiate the boss fight. The Wonder fight has 5 phases that can be in any order, with short breaks in between, or you can choose them with this camera if you really feel like it. In the concert phase, Wonder will use his super crazy guitar maniac deluxe skills to fling musical notes and throw keyboards at you. This is definitely one of the easier ones out of the 5. The boxing phase, as you would expect, has Wonder throwing straight haymakers at you before he starts beating down you for what feels like an eternity. I honestly recommend just parrying in this part. And now for one of my favorite ones, the chess phase. This phase has you dodging chess pieces and parrying sword attacks in what I think is a very fun rhythm, especially the last part. Ow. Next up is the dojo phase. He attacks you with his comically large sword and occasionally kicks you. Honestly, not that bad of a fight, I say as I get hit by everything. And now he wants to play Need for Speed Underground 2, I guess. In the highest speeds phase, Wonder just starts blasting while you avoid or jump over police roadblocks. How many rounds does that thing hold? And we're done. Oh whoops, there's a trick that lets you skip this room, but I was a little late, so now we have to wait for this get up animation. Come to Brazil. Now we get to do a really long walking session before we get to this hospital room and pull the plug, triggering the second Wonder fight. I hope you paid attention in science class. We'll drop to this spinning thing to destroy a brain, head to a rainbow spinning thingy and destroy a mouth, go to a drill thing that can probably pierce the heavens, beat up Tyler 1, something Osmosis Jones, defeat an eyeball, and finally drop into these cubes and defeat this nose, bringing us into the second phase. This phase is just like most normal bosses, with an occasional dodge or jump. Honestly, a cool version of the main menu theme. Afterwards, we kind of just run at him menacingly until he gives up, and then we just push him into a train. I like trains. And then we just hold the inner right key until we get to the credits, and then we keep holding it until we get to the main menu. You do get to look at some cute photos, especially the question mark ones, and then we load back in. Oops, wrong file. We load back in, get gym clothes, photo album, and boss gauntlet, and then head to the library. Here we're gonna go defeat some more office natives, take this water entrance to drop near a submarine, save at the nearby checkpoint, and then head towards the archive season puzzle. After defeating this origami samurai twice, for this puzzle, we hit this bell to spawn a water cube, move this metal cube over, raise the water cube up, raise it in line with the metal one, a little off, move the metal cube to reflect the yellow light, and while holding this clock, we'll make our way through until we get to these blue lasers, set ourselves up, and unfreeze the water cube before dropping in, allowing us to pick up the science center key before quitting. Then we'll go around this giant bookshelf, fight some more office nados, and then drop in a nearby room to fight another chef. Defeating it will open the fridge, allowing us to grab the bottle of whiskey before quitting, and then we'll head back to defeat it 2 more times. Now we can finally go to the submarine. We'll grab the broken heart on the other side before entering. Here we'll talk to Coltrane to get the zoology journal, and then give it back to him fully completed, receiving the Spinjitzu scroll and the heart finder. He'll meet us on the outside, and now we can use the boss gauntlet to go to Mother. We'll then head over to the train and take it back to the science center, where we can unlock a back room and grab another document. Then we'll head over to the boss room, swing all the way back to the Earth, and complete what's probably the longest and most tedious balloon trial in this game. The amount of times I've missed this balloon still haunts me. And when we finally complete the balloon trial, we can head back to Earth and pick up the beach outfit. Then we'll use the boss gauntlet to cannibal. Here we'll go to an area towards the back, where we have to finagle with this amalgamation to make a heart, managing to waste almost a whole minute. When the gate is finally open, we can pick up the military outfit, and then use the boss gauntlet to go back to cannibal. For some reason you have to go all the way back to the elevator to get the train, but once it arrives we'll take it back to the cemetery. Then we'll go all the way back to the casket, unlock it, and grab a document. Then we'll head into the boss room to use the gauntlet back to cannibal. Then we'll swing over to the elevator. I don't know how I got here. And then we'll exit with the elevator. Now we'll head to where the palace floor used to be, break the stained glass window to a secret area so that we can complete another balloon trial. This one's actually pretty easy to do. As I was saying, this one's actually pretty easy to do, especially since I'm copying someone else. But when we're finished, we can pick up the Dream Wanderer outfit, and then head over and enter this wooden door. Hello again, Corey. Here we'll give Corey the bottle of whiskey, and she proceeds to get absolutely hammered. Then we'll give her the brand name cigarettes. I guess we have a very chill time. And now she'll meet us on the outside. We'll save and quit, and time. That is Metro Gravity 100% speedrun in 1 hour, 24 minutes, and 54 seconds, putting us in first place as the only one who has read in this category.